Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Listen, I would whisper right now because if I could, but I have air conditioning on, it's summer, it's hot, so I can't whisper because the microphone has a filter on so you won't hear me whisper, but I would whisper quiet luxury, silent luxury. What does it mean? And is this thing even a thing? We're going to talk about silent luxury and quiet luxury in a minute. First, subscribe to my channel here on the tubes. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today and gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon. Super Dacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to all my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday and you are all invited to join the conversation and the chats, the live chats every Saturday. Cue in my co-conspirators. Hi guys. Listen, silent luxury, quiet luxury. Okay, it's a thing that's been trending since a while now on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, Twitter, maybe a little bit less, but it's usually like people telling you stuff like Gucci and Louis Vuitton are what poor people wear to look rich. No logo. The true rich don't buy luxury. The true rich people don't buy logos. This is so not true, you guys. Like, don't listen to these Oompa Loompas who come and listen. It's the rich who mostly finance all of these brands, all these logos. It's the rich who get invited to all the shows, the VIP events, the special. It's the people who spend the big money that are actually the ones that keep this entire extreme luxury business going. And also, spending a lot of money on luxury doesn't just mean logos. There's a lot of brands that are very, very expensive, that are not logo heavy, but they are luxury nevertheless. And people with a lot of money spend a lot of money on luxury. Just to go to the noblesse horse races. Just yesterday, I was scrolling through Instagram, and there were these ladies going to the famous horse races in England, the aristocratic ones. And looky, eggs and cookie, they had a little Chanel bag with a double C logo, a little Chanel skirts with double C logos all over their skirts. They had an Hermès, a Birkin, a Kelly. Me with a crop being like, yes, your betches, wear those logos. But no, it is so not true. And I have the feeling like I don't want to say it's usually the people that actually cannot afford to buy anything with a Louis Vuitton logo on it or a Gucci logo on it that are usually going to make those videos telling you, this is like the rich don't buy that. Only if you're poor you buy. First of all, if you're poor, you cannot afford the prices that Gucci or Louis Vuitton are charging. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to even hypothesize that that only if you're poor you're going to buy Louis Vuitton or Gucci. How out of touch with reality must you be to think that? To think that that's even true? Like, how is that even possible? And then, like, so what do you think the rich do? You walk around naked? What do the rich do? Buy clothes at Zara? Some do, probably, but only if they don't care about clothes. Depends on where they got their money from. You could be so rich from birth, generational wealth, and just not care. You don't have to prove anything to anybody, and you just don't like fashion. You don't care for it. That's a possibility. But you can also be rich and like fashion. And like special designs and like what's going on around you. And this can apply also to furniture, by the way. It doesn't have to just be, clothes. Fashion also goes into furniture. And there's really expensive furniture out there that this is something you use in the privacy of your own home. So if we're talking about furniture, you can't say like, oh, you just want to wear a logo to show off that you can afford it. If you're wearing a logo to show off that you can afford it, yeah, well, then you're the one who's falling for the whole contorted vision of, well, you can only wear certain things if you have money, meaning you're rich. That's ridiculous. Why even this obsession with richness? Who cares? Seriously, who cares? Like, who cares? I don't know, but there's this general criticism that I'm noticing when it comes to fashion. And this is also from close, like, acquaintances that I've had uh, in my life. People I've worked with, colleagues from work or ex-jobs I had, or even fellow colleague students, at school while you study, university, what have you. And they would, and I always say this, I've said this in so many of my videos, they would go destroy themselves on the weekend partying. They would spend hundreds of dollars for special occasions, thousands of dollars on the weekend for booze, other things, substances, stuff that you like, on a Monday, they look like they've aged 10 years over the weekend. They've spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, and nobody judges. And they're actually acting like, oh my God, like I destroyed myself on the weekend. I was always the one who was like, this is a waste of money to me. I'm not going to judge you. I don't care. But I wouldn't do that. And then on a Tuesday, I have a new Chanel bag. And they're all judging. Oh my God. How much money did you spend on that? I'm like, you're the one who literally burned hundreds of dollars this weekend on booze and other substances and entrance fees to clubs and just sweating yourself to death. And I didn't say a word. But you're judging me, and I'm the superficial one, for actually having a different type of interest than you. Like, what gives? Why is fashion always so hyper criticized? And yet at the same time, fashion is one of the biggest economical contributors, together with the military, in this world. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And this silent luxury, that's ridiculous. You look a fool if you're going to go for what is silent luxury? Oh, buying something that doesn't have any sort of logo on it? Yeah, but again, if you know, honey. If you know, you know. Even, certain luxury brands that don't have a logo have a very recognizable shape. So when you wear that stuff, it's like wearing the logo, because everybody knows, everybody who's supposed to know is going to know. Doesn't mean you're rich or that you're not rich. It's ridiculous to connect the fact that being truly rich means you're never going to wear a logo. You're never going to be interested in fashion. You're never going to want to dress up nicely. Who said that? Nobody rich would claim such a generic statement and would generalize like that. It makes no sense. I have dealt with and have had friends in my life, and I've been working with people who are of all different economical levels, societal levels. And I can tell you this, the ones that are the richest that I've met, some of them were total snobs, so it doesn't even matter. Some of them were so open-minded and super generous and wanted to have fun in life. And if they would see something colorful and beautiful, if it were from Hermes for $20,000 and they loved it, they would buy it. If it was in Walmart and it was fun and whimsical, they would buy it. It's like, and also I've had friends who had to really struggle to make ends meet, and then they would collect money for a couple of months to buy the bag that they wanted, and then they bought it anyway. No judgment there either. That's amazing as well. And they loved their bag. And not because they wanted to prove a point that they can afford something, just because they have a passion for certain styles and designs. We gotta stop stigmatizing fashion and luxury like that. I mean, to each their own. I'm like, just like, boo, you do you, I do me. I don't judge you, you don't judge me. It's fine, you know? It's like so ridiculous. Susie Q says, it's my money. I'll do what I want with it. Nobody's business. Exactly. And also, as I said, I don't judge your choices. You know how many times I've had to deal with this in my life where like people try to make me feel guilty for having bought what is deemed like an expensive luxury piece, whether it be a beautiful perfume that I love, a bag, a piece of clothing, shoes. It's always like the material stuff that people judge you for. But then like if you decide to go to a restaurant and spend a ton of money eating one meal, it's all good and fine. Well, I'm going to poop out that meal a couple of hours later, but I'm going to keep wearing those shoes for a couple of years at least. So what's more worth it in the long term? You know, Madonna once said in the 90s, in an interview somewhere I read, they asked her like, I don't know which brand of shoes was she talking about. No, I don't know which brand of shoes she was talking about. They were asking her in the interview, like, so would you prefer, more shoes or sex? And then she said, oh, I love both, but the shoes because they last longer. I would also prefer the shoes to the 10-star meal where they give you a little tiny portion like this that you inhale and then you're still hungry. But you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for than actually having my shoes. And listen, for work and also because I was invited, you know me, whenever I do my live streams and we have a snack together, I eat the most humblest, simplest of foods because I love how they taste. I'm not going to be the one. Listen, if it's your thing and you love to eat super expensive foods and you love to have, it's just not me. I like a nice solid meal. It can be chicken nuggets. It can also be like super healthy salad. It doesn't have to be always junk food. But what I want to say is I'm easygoing that way. I've been to dinners and invited for work purposes or by friends to special occasions where you did do the special little microscopic food servings and everybody's like, oh my God, this is, and I'm like, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. And then after dinner, I went to McDonald's because I was hungry. Like, to each their own, but I didn't judge. I didn't sit there being like, oh my God, like, you're just like trying to show off something. Like, this is not even human because this food is not going to satiate you. Like, I don't care. It gets them, it makes them horny. It makes them super happy to do that. Fine. It's okay. I'll spend time with them. But like, then the next day, they judge me for having purchased another Chanel bag. I'm like, girl, no. Ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna let it happen. And it has nothing to do with being rich, being poor, or anything, really. It has to do with personal preferences and tastes. Yes, I know some people really are victims to fashion. They're victims to the logo. They're victims to the it factor. They're victims to the fact that, there's this trend happening and I gotta get it, FOMO, FOMO, FOMO. There's a lot of that going on, but this is not what we're talking about here. This video is about the concept that's being pushed onto us constantly, and I'm seeing it everywhere, you guys, on social media, about quiet luxury, also called silent luxury, where people are telling you, it's about the riches. It's about proving that you're rich. No, it's not. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about? Are we really reducing ourselves to the point where you have absolutely no freedom of expression whatsoever anymore because no matter what you do, they're going to judge? Now, I know people judge no matter what you do. Let them. But I'm not going to let that influence me. And also, why would I have to prove what money and how much money I have to anybody? Oh, because if you wear that, you're poor. Who are you? Do I know you? Are you paying my bills? Do you know what sort of finances I'm dealing with? No, but you just superficially judge me because you see me wear a logo or you see me not wear a logo. Listen, honey, clothing is a costume. RuPaul, right? You're born naked, the rest is drag. You're born naked. Everything else you put on is a costume. Everything else you put on is a uniform. Everything else you put on is some sort of, it can either be a representation of who you are, like I do with perfume. I wear perfumes to enhance my mood of the day. I wear clothes that match my mood that day. Clothes are for me like framework. Accessories are a framework. They're not a framework to my wallet. They are a framework to my mood, to my energy, to my passions, things I love. I love beautiful objects. What's beautiful to me might not be beautiful to you. But what's beautiful to me, I'm going to buy. I'm going to collect, and I'm going to enjoy it. So it's kind of sad for me to see all these videos on TikTok, on YouTube about these people trying desperately to tell you how to be rich. I'm like, girl, if you got to tell me how to be rich, you're not rich. That's the bottom line. And if you got to tell me how to be rich, that means that you are so desperate to become rich that you become blinded by it. And that, honey, is the opposite of luxury. Like Coco Chanel said it best, and I will never stress enough to repeat this. Quoting Coco Chanel. We're going to talk about luxury. We're going to talk about vulgarity. We're going to talk about poverty. Luxury is not the opposite of poverty. Luxury is the opposite of vulgarity. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Susie Q says, here's the thing. People who have money don't tell you what to do. Period. Debbie says, just everyone mind their own business, although social media makes that less obvious. Social media has become the nosiest type of gossip attitude, you know, with the cancel culture, with the poking into other people's businesses without knowing really anything about them, but just kind of superficially scraping them on the surface and then trying to dig through stuff and be like, I know this about you, pointing fingers and then blaming, bashing, canceling. It's become ridiculous. It's become ridiculous. And a constant struggle, constant fight. Just mind your own businesses. Enjoy life. Life is too short. Life is way too short to waste precious energy on trying to prove somebody wrong, was this or that, this, you should do that, you should do that. Do what you want. Enjoy your life. Enjoy the happy moments, because they're going to be very, very short, because life is super short. You're going to kick the bucket before you know it, and then what? You spend half your life worrying about what some Oompa Loompa from the neighborhood is going to think about you because you wore the green shirt today instead of the yellow one? Girl, come on. Come on, we're no kids no more. Jason says, exactly. People always worrying about where the next person spends their dollar and jealous over cars, jewelry, handbags, and all. It's so funny. I'm always so happy when somebody tells me, Dacob, I bought a new bag. I'm like, oh my God, I want to see it. Show me the photo. Like, I want to see the shape. I want to see the colors. What size did you buy? I get excited for that person. I never feel like, oh, why don't I have that bag? Why don't I have that car? Why don't I have that villa? Why don't I have that swimming pool? Because you can't have everything. Think about it. If every time that you saw something that somebody else had, if you could afford to buy the same exact thing that you see somebody else buy, you would be literally spending your entire day buying things. And you would never enjoy the things you have. Why am I saying this? Because with social media in particular, you're exposed to these things all the time. You're constantly seeing what other people have. So if you were to purchase and be able to afford and have enough space to buy everything you see from everybody else, what a miserable life that would be. You would be literally spending your, because you would see hundreds and thousands of different posts on Instagram a day of people showing off stuff. And if every time you see somebody have something that you don't, you start feeling jealous or envious about it, that's sick. And if you had the money to buy everything you saw somebody else have, you would literally be spending your entire time just buying, because you would keep seeing new things that other people have that you don't have. So it's not even about not being able to afford everything. It's literally about, I'm trying to point out to you, it ain't worth it to begin with, because you will never have enough time to enjoy what you already have. You know that good old say, the neighbor's grass is always greener. Well, maybe I just enjoy my pink grass more than the neighbor's green grass. And I'm really happy with my pink grass, instead of seeing how much greener the neighbor's grass is. You see what I mean? You gotta twist it around and see it in a better way. VUITTON says, jealousy has always been such a weird concept to me. I get that it's a human trait, but why should I feel bad for myself because someone else is happy? That's just so sad and doesn't make sense. It makes absolutely no sense, and it kills you. It kills you long term. It eats at your core. Eats up at your liver, because you become so bitter. You become so bitter when you start having those jealous swings and mood swings because somebody has something. I'm like, good for you. Good that you have what you have. And that's the bottom line. Why would you wish somebody ill will because they got something girl, come on. And then we got to flip it around to this quiet luxury, silent luxury. The only thing that should be silent and quiet are those influencers that try to sell you this type of crap. That's the only silent and quiet that I need right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. I love you so much, and never give up on love. Subscribe.